Hey guys, Zen here, bringing you some Flashpoint footage with my Bounty Hunter. This video will go up before the rest of the Bounty Hunter footage, but this is the character I did level to level 10 as a Bounty Hunter. This video is going to be a very long one, but it is also very good. The first part of this video contains a lot of story content, so bear with me as we get through that. I've got a few other group mates here. All groups in the Old Republic are in divisibles of 2, so it's 4-player groups, and then 8-player groups, 16-player groups, so on and so forth. You can do the math there, but this is a 4-player Flashpoint. We have 4 players, no companions out, and we do pretty well, I would have to say, but I hope you guys enjoy this, and here's the first
Tell
intro.
the captain that I'll be back on the bridge as soon as I've done his errand.
Yes, sir.
Good to have you aboard. I'm Lieutenant Silas, second in command of the Black Talon. We're your ride to Drummond Cass.
I'm sure the ship will suffice. How long until we reach the planet?
Shouldn't be more than a day. The Black Talon makes this run on a regular basis without much trouble. We're primarily a transport. In the meantime, your droid's in the conference room. We picked it up with the upgrades from Geonosis. When we docked here, it mentioned your names.
Sorry. I don't know what droid you're talking about.
Oh? The machine asked for you, so I assumed you were the owner. My mistake. In any case, it seems someone wants to get in touch. The conference room is down the hall. I'll be on the bridge. And you, soldier, when you're done playing honor guard, get back to your post. This isn't a luxury yacht.
Yes, sir.
So there you go. Like the rest of the game, the flashpoints or instances, whatever you want to call them, the dungeons are also story-driven. So the entire game as a whole is a story-driven game, even all this. And if you've done this before, you could skip through all the dialogue. As just a quick brief reminder, beta is beta, you may see bugs.
Identity confirmed. Good day. I'm Advanced Protocol Unit NR02. My functions are diplomacy, translation, manslaughter, and calumniation. I have an urgent message for you from my master. Please stand by for delivery.
You may also see lag. Like this. Lots of lag. It's beta. Deal with it.
I'm paying attention.
This is Unit NR02 to Grand Moff Kilran. You are now in contact with the Black Talon.
Well, so I am, and it seems you've brought me just the people I've been looking for. My name is Rikus Kilran. I'm commander of the 5th Fleet, second to the Minister of War, and my personal favorite, the so-called Butcher of Coruscant.
I don't understand. What's going on here?
It's apparent I need another pair of hands, so I asked NR2 to check the ship's passenger manifest.
My good fortune that I was in a position to contact you. I was already aboard the Black Talon.
6 hours ago, the Republic engaged in an illegal border skirmish on the edges of Imperial territory. One enemy warship escaped. That warship, the Brenal Star, is carrying a passenger of vital strategic importance. Yours is the only vessel placed to intercept.
This passenger the Brenal Star is carrying, who is it?
The warship's passenger is codenamed the General. We don't know his identity, but the Republic believes he possesses military secrets, our military secrets. I trust the reports. The General must be captured or killed. Captain Orzik, the man commanding your transport, doesn't share my enthusiasm. He's disobeyed my orders to attack. Feel free to show him what the Empire does to cowards. Then commandeer his ship, find the Brenal Star, and deal with the General.
Sounds interesting. But you realize I don't work for free.
I certainly understand, as will the Imperial Treasury. We need individuals like you if we're to survive the next Great War.
I will lead the way to the bridge. Once Captain Orzik is deposed and our hijacking is complete, we may proceed to the Brenal Star.
Yeah, just going off that last point, any lag or bugs you see is the result of we're using a different build for the beta weekend. The internal testers have a more updated version of the game, which is working properly, so this won't be in live. Don't expect it unless one of your group mates is lagging to death, and you may see some lag in the conversations there.
Halt! This is a restricted area. Captain OSWguild's command. You'll have to leave immediately.
I suggest you back off before someone gets hurt.
I'm afraid I can't do that. This is the command deck entry hatch. No one's allowed in until we reach our destination.
Time is limited. We must proceed to the bridge immediately.
Our orders were to treat any approach as an attack. You need to take your droid and move it.
I'm stepping away. There's no need to be nervous.
Our window to intercept the Brenal star is rapidly closing. Engaging expediency measures.
Blasters out! Attack! Attack!
So here you go, our first pull, finally. The Black Talon Flashpoint, which is the first one for the Empire, does start off a little slow with all the talking, but from what I hear, the other Flashpoints aren't quite like that. We do have a healer, a tank, and 2 DPS. So our healer is a Bounty Hunter. That is the last person in the group list there. We have a DPS Bounty Hunter. We have me as a Bounty Hunter tanking, and then we have I think that is a Sith Inquisitor DPSing. It might be a Sith Warrior, I can't tell. I know it's an Inquisitor because I see the buff. So, I'm going to come through here. I'm trying to tank. First time tanking as a Bounty Hunter, and I actually end up really liking it. You'll see later I get better at it, but this, just as a reminder, again, this is the first Flashpoint. This should not be a depiction of what the difficulty of the game is, right? Because we're just kind of blowing through this and having a lot of fun, and there's a lot of groups that we're just kind of killing, and I think that's intentional on their part. For the most part, it looks like it's kind of like Dead Mines, right? When you first go into the Dead Mines, everybody just launches themselves through it. That's because it's the first one, and for new players, they don't want you having to figure out how to get aggro on a tank or for a tank, and then healing people. We do take a lot of damage. Our healer does a very good job of keeping us alive later, and the bosses are progressively harder, and you get introduced at a slow rate to major mechanics that the game has to offer, like tanking and staying out of the fire and all this other stuff, and BioWare does a very, very good job of introducing it slowly at first so people can learn. Also, if any of you watch the chat during this entire Flashpoint, we end up having a ton of fun. This is probably one of the most fun groups I've been in, and I thank everybody in this group for being so relaxed and stuff, and you may see some really funny. Oh, I totally missed there. You may see some really funny back and forths with me in the group, but don't focus on that so much. But if you don't want to hear me talk, then go right ahead, because it's probably much funnier than whatever the heck I have to say. So we're gonna go into here to the next piece of dialogue, if everybody can get here. I think this is the one. Yeah, we had someone disconnect. And what ended up happening was it reset the entire conversation. We were at the end of it, and they apologized. But I don't know if that's going to happen in live. So you'll see the fade out, and it'll switch over to the second time we went through it. We pretty much the same people won the roll anyway, so the outcome was the same. And we also have a little bit of lag going into this conversation because of that one person DCing and breaking everything, really. But like I said, they apologized. It wasn't really their fault. Their internet just went out, so oh well, we dealt with it. Now let's finally get to see what this droid has.
All Marines have been neutralized. Scanning for additional threats.
What's going on? Sir, stay calm, Ensign. Everyone stay calm.
No threats found. The bridge is now secure.
Obey or perish.
Hands off the consoles! We're all listening, my lord.
I can handle this, Lieutenant. I'm Captain Revenant Orzik. I'm pretty sure I know what this is about. For the record, I take complete responsibility for my actions.
I understand, Captain. If nothing else, that should make it easier on the crew.
I'm glad it's worth something. You're here because of the Moff, aren't you? You must want the Brenal Star's passenger pretty badly. Or maybe he just hates me. The Black Talon would be destroyed chasing a battleship. I've fought in the war before and I'll fight again, but I don't do suicide missions.
Suicide was deciding you could ignore your superiors.
The captain's dead! The captain's dead!
Shut up! You have our attention, my lord. What would you have us do?
Let this be a lesson. Your only hope for survival is complete and utter loyalty.
Yes, my lord.
Yes, my lord.
In accordance with Article 27A of the Imperial Code of Military Conduct, command of this vessel has been lawfully transferred. New orders are being downloaded to your consoles. Priority 1, intercept the Brenal Star.
Bukara, do as the droid says and prepare to jump to light speed.
Emerging from hyperspace now. One Thranta-class warship on the scanners. Powering up...
Enemy is firing. Turbo lasers, missiles, and what looks like transport pods. I'm not sure.
Odds are a distraction. Return fire. Aim for their power generators. So long as they're damaged and we're not, we have the advantage.
Lieutenant, Captain Silas, sir. Engineering is reporting blaster fire. They just cut out.
I'm giddy with anticipation.
Damn it. It must be some sort of boarding action. If they're in engineering, they could destroy this ship. With due respect, I recommend you lend a hand down there.
I'm overqualified for this job.
I'll notify security.
And don't worry. We won't let those Republic scum get away.
So there we go. One thing I wanted to mention was in a group conversation when you see we have another person DC'd right there, but in a group conversation when you're talking to story characters and it rolls, right? It rolls for your dialogue choice, and whoever wins the roll gets the choice to talk. And in this case, if you may have seen, if you roll over 100, right? It's not just that you can roll over 100, it's a crit roll. So your rolls during social dialogue can crit. And I think that's really cool. And that was, this whole thing right here is really cool. Like, check out how the mobs come in. They don't just, randomly run in through a door. Instead, a giant, ship hits ours and they come through. It's really cool. They're, boarding us, and this whole sequence is actually a lot of fun. And we were having a lot of fun with it. Especially as a bounty hunter, because you'll see when I do the leveling up stuff, but I've got, a lot of melee things I can do, like shooting fire. I got a lot of AoE stuff I can do, and it's the bounty hunter is by far my favorite class, but you'll see that in the class video when I level it up for you guys. By the way, I also did a dark side, because this character is dark side. I did a dark side Jedi Knight and a kind of in between, both dark side and light side character for the Inquisitor. So we'll see how that goes. Those will be up next couple weeks. We have so much content. I have an entire 1.5 terabyte hard drive full. So as you can see and hear, there is voice acting as you continue and stuff. We're waiting for our group mates to come through the elevator there, but this instance is really rad. It just immerses you in the story going on, and the story really drives it. And it's one of the things that I think is missing from a lot of other MMO dungeons is the story driven part, and it's weird how that actually makes it more fun. And I could see how, say I've done this instance 1,000 times, on the heroic version at level 50, it's not like I'm gonna get tired of it because I could just skip through the dialogue if I've heard it before, and if I've seen every single possible dialogue choice, you can just skip right through it. So it's not that bad, and a lot of people would wonder how that actually works in an MMO, but it works quite well, in fact. As you can see, we have bonus quests within here as well, and we're coming up on a boss, first boss, in fact, and this boss isn't entirely that hard. The one after it has some really cool mechanics that I wasn't expecting, and I ended up standing in, because I was expecting most of them just to be a tank and spank. But our healer does quite a good job of keeping us alive during that. Now, this little ability that I tried to use there, let's see if I can. No. You'll see it on the next pull, I guess. Probably my favorite bounty hunter ability. And I've played a bounty hunter, they're level 20, and I went the mercenary route. This is the power tech route, so this is like the tanking tree and everything. And it's much stronger in the mercenary tree, but I really like it. So I jump up in the air and I shoot a ton of rockets. And it knocks them back and does a ton of AoE damage. Really good for pulling groups. So here we go, here's the boss. Big old droid. I'm going to try to get aggro on it. Run up to it, unload a couple shots, hit it with a dot. They're doing a ton of damage. I'm managing to keep aggro somehow. Oh, wait, no, there goes the Inquisitor. Does it go again? I think he pulls aggro again. But I think as a whole, without having a taunt at this low level, it was actually really fun to tank. I don't know exactly how that'll work later on. Like, I think the bounty hunter gets like a stance because they have these like ammo types they can use, right? And I think one of theirs creates more aggro from or more threat generation from the abilities they use and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how that works. So this entire run we get like bounty hunter gear, heavy armor. So of course I'm gonna need roll on that. Of course the other two bounty hunters are gonna need roll, and they win. Dang them. So I go up the wrong direction here. I'm not supposed to go up to the top, but because I'm awesome and realize this, I just jump off the edge like a boss. Little nice offhand there. Bounty hunters, if you go the power tech route, they use a one-handed weapon, and then they can use an off-handed. So that's kind of how that works. It's not a shield, but you can think of it as like a warrior from any fantasy MMO. They have like a one-handed weapon and a shield. That's kind of how the bounty hunter works, except they have a pistol and then something they hold in their offhand, or something that is attached to their offhand. I think in the bounty hunter's case, it's usually like a piece of technology later on in the game when it actually, when you could see the effect on it. So finally, we finished that little first boss off, and we're coming to the next piece of dialogue. It asks me to join the conversation, but I'm not there yet because I went the wrong direction. But let's see what happens next in this amazing Flashpoint.
Damage reports from all decks. We're holding together, sir, but I don't know for how long.
Make sure it's long enough, Ensign. Your life and career are at stake.
Please stand alert. Grand Moff Kilran's representatives have returned.
Congratulations, my lord. Security reports that the sabotage droids have been destroyed.
I'm always a professional.
Oh, please. Please don't kill us.
Shut up, Ensign, or I'll kill you myself. We've penetrated the Brental Star's outer defenses. Their next assault won't come until we enter fighter range. Another minute, maybe two.
Transmission coming in. Long range. It's a message, but it's not from the Brental Star.
I'm dying of suspense. Really.
I'll patch the message through immediately.
This is Jedi Grand Master Satil Shan hailing unidentified Imperial vessel. I'm en route to your location with 16 Republic vessels. I am asking you to retreat before more lives are lost.
Well met and all that.
I'm glad to hear a voice of reason. Let us end this conflict together. The Brental Star is under my protection. Our convoy was ambushed and I sent the Star ahead. We will reunite. I just crippled 3 Imperial dreadnoughts. I don't wish to destroy you. The peace between Republic and Empire is fragile enough already.
I don't play politics. Take it somewhere else.
Even Mandalorians respect life. This isn't about politics. Incidents like this are happening across the galaxy, but only because we let them. Leave the Brental Star to me. If you don't, then may the Force be with you. Because the men and women aboard that ship can hold you off until we arrive, and you will be defeated.
You're deluding yourself. The ship is already mine.
You've made yourself clear. But I suggest you prepare to face a Jedi. And you may want to consider what that means.
Entering fighter range. The Brental Star is launching its first squadron.
All right. Now we're close enough to fly in and send a raiding party. I assume you're going.
Time for you to see what a Sith can do.
Before you go, you should know something. Most of the Marines will back you up, but we had to execute a few for refusing to fight.
They were terrified after what happened to the captain. They panicked.
They're dead now anyway.
We did retrieve their equipment. It's yours. We're doing our very best to serve you, I swear.
I sure hope you're not gonna cry.
Ignore him. I'll make sure he doesn't trouble you in the future.
I advise that you proceed to the shuttle bay. The flight to the Brental Star may be hazardous, but Grand Moff Kilran has complete faith in your abilities.
Yay! Us. So, codex entries there, a little bit of a chest for us to get more loot, leveling the loot. Pants to get out of my hot pants I'm apparently wearing. So, what we're going to do now is we got to go over to the other ship, right? So we're going to board the other ship, and I think that's a cool mechanic because it's I mean, we're stuck on an Empire ship right now, an Imperial ship. So that's kind of the only stuff we've actually seen as far as environment goes. But it would be really awesome to, you know, change environments in a space situation like this, and the way they've come up with that is by boarding another ship. On the alternative side, right, so I don't know how this quite works because I haven't done it, but I think for the Republic, I think they start on an Essilus class class ship, so it's kind of the same thing except on the other side, but I don't know if it's this exact ship because I think the ship over here is something different, but they pretty much, yeah, they start on a different ship and they kind of have the same thing that they do. It's like a ship battle for their first Flashpoint. So that's two different Flashpoints. I think I can't guarantee it, but I think they might be available later on as a heroic instance for the other side. So the Empire might be able to do the S-list Flashpoint, but probably not. I think they want to do something like that in the future, but they haven't added it quite yet in this current build. So a cool little like sequence there going over to their ship. You can see ours in the background, our awesome, like, fatty Star Destroyer arrow-looking thing. It's pretty cool. I like the Star Destroyer type ships. So now we're over here, and this is when me and this other person start having a lot of fun in party chat. But don't worry about that if you don't want to. So cool little AOE to pick up all the aggro. Now I wanted to mention in many MMOs, not just specific ones, but pretty much every single one, the tank, healer, and DPS, like Trinity, it's been kind of hurt, right? It hasn't been working very right. Because the tanks, there aren't enough of them. The healers, some of them suck, and the DPS don't know what the heck they're doing. Now, in games like Guild Wars, the way that they have fixed this problem is that they've made it so anybody can be anything, right? So you can fulfill any role regardless of what class you are, and I think that's cool. And there's not really roles there. I mean, there are, but they've kind of blended the lines between that with Guild Wars 2. In this game, they've kind of done that, but not really. I mean, there is a very clear tanking, healing, and DPS thing, but the healers get to DPS quite a bit, right? Like my Smuggler gets a damage buff when he's healing. My you know, my tank here gets to do a lot of damage as well, and the DPS can help out with healing and off tanking. So it's like you wouldn't be surprised to see a healer doing some DPS in this game, and I think that's pretty cool. I like how it blends the line there. But also on this you have, I think the Bounty Hunter, the Sith Warrior, and the Sith Inquisitor can all tank, right? So you have, on one side of the 4 classes, 3 people can tank. So that helps out a lot. And then you have the Sith Inquisitor, the Imperial Agent, and the Bounty Hunter that can heal. So on the one side you also have 3 people that can heal, and then all 4 of the classes on the one side can DPS. And it's exactly mirrored on the other side as well. So it's pretty cool how that works, because it gives you more options to get more tanks, right? It's not just like 2 people can actually tank on one side. It's 3, which is a significant number. It's more than half of the classes on one side. And yeah, they have to spec into the advanced class, but I have a feeling a lot of people will kind of see the advantage of that, because like for the Bounty Hunter here, I could go with the Mercenary and be able to heal and DPS, or I can go with the Power Tech and be able to tank and DPS. So if I wanted to DPS either way, it's a good choice on either side, right? I'm spec'd into tanking here, which is why I'm not doing a whole lot of damage. I'm doing actually a lot of damage, but I'm not doing as much as the Mercenary is. So it's, you know, it's kind of funny how that works and how it kind of flip-flops, and it works for every class that way. So the Inquisitor can tank or DPS, or heal or DPS, and I think that's a unique way of going about it, the mirroring of the classes. So we got another little sequence here. We'll see how this one turns out as well. Actually, I think this one's kind of funny, but you'll see.
This is Protocol Unit NR02. I hope you're receiving this message clearly, and that your flight was free of incident. Please hold for Security Coordinator Ensign Brukhara.
The Marines are on their way. They'll follow you in and hold each junction you secure. Try not to take too long. We're not a military ship. What you have is all you're getting.
I don't need an army. I can handle this myself.
Yes, but I understand.
I have been scanning the Brenal Star's communications, and security forces appear to be moving to protect the escape pods. It is extremely likely that the crew is attempting to evacuate the General. You must retrieve or eliminate him before he escapes.
We'll have the General before the crew knows what's happening.
Excellent news. I will be in contact if the situation changes. Proceed to assault all defense points between you and the target.
So we have a very long sequence here of combat. So if you were like, oh, I'm tired of all the talking, well, don't really worry about it, because there's a lot of combat to be had on this next part. Wanted to point out, I really like that random groups of enemies come in from the side like that. It kind of changes it up a bit. It gets to the point where, like, it's happened so many times where you're like, oh gosh, again, you know? But it's not that. I mean, it could be worse, right? It could have happened like every single pull, but they mix it up a bit, and they did like the whole boarding sequence thing, and I think that is also, you know, it changes it up. It doesn't keep it the same. So on the, if you see on the enemy like icon there, they continue to have like the gold stars and the silver stars, so you can kind of see what's going to happen on a pull before you actually pull. Like, do you have like a group of 5-star type characters? I don't know the ranks of it. I was like call them elites or something, but if you see a group of guys that you're about to pull with 5 stars, then I'm sure you would have to CC one. But in this case, because this is the first instance, we actually don't have many pulls that we actually have to CC. But there's a boss coming up here that, like I was saying earlier, has a very unique mechanic that I wasn't necessarily expecting from the first Flashpoint. But you'll see what I mean in a second. So we still have bonus quests that we're doing too, by the way. I think that's really cool because it gets us a lot of experience. I ended up getting to level 11 during this, and that's always a good thing. So we're going to pull the boss here.
So,
little calamari guy, rather. So, thing underneath my feet, I was like, okay, I'll move. And then, you know, I'm tanking them, doing a good job. I've got aggro, taking all the damage, you know, venting my heat on my bar there, doing more damage. And then I start realizing that those things are actually not going away, and the rest of my group is standing in them, right? And it's kind of funny how that works, because I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't expecting that. From a first-time boss in here, I wouldn't expect a mechanic to stick around like that. Maybe it was a bug, I don't know. But it looks like we have a DC'd person, figures. At least he's not standing in the fire while he's DC'd, I don't think, at least. But, it is a cool little feature. I mean, it teaches you, okay, I probably shouldn't stand in that, right? And then for the rest of the game, you realize that that happened in that boss, so maybe it can happen in a different boss, so it teaches you to stay out of other things and other markers on the ground, and they make it very obvious when something's in the AoE down near you. And, I mean, you see that in other MMOs, maybe at later levels, or maybe it's so menial that you don't even have to actually stand. I mean, you can stand in it, but you don't have to be healed through it, because, you take, like, no damage. Nice bounty hunter armor there, more heavy armor. I think our DPS bounty hunter wins it, dang him. So, yeah, it's just kind of cool how a boss like that has a mechanic that you're used to seeing at higher levels. So it does ramp up in difficulty as we go, and you'll see on the last boss in here, it also has another mechanic like that, but it's harder to mention. I mean, the last one you don't see right away. The first time you do it, I've done this would be the second time I'm doing this Flashpoint, so I knew about it. But I forgot, and then once I realized, I was like, oh, that's what's happening. I ended up figuring out, and I ended up telling my group. So hopefully other people will be able to kind of see what's going on that last boss, and you'll see what I'm talking about when we get there, and I'll talk about it more when I get there. But for the most part, I'm really enjoying this Flashpoint. I like the difficulty. It's not too hard where if you were in a group of random people, it would be, super hard and you'd wipe all the time. But it's not too easy where I didn't feel like I feel, like I was just kind of rolling through it, I mean, we are rolling through it, but at the same time, it was really well paced. And it's hard to explain. You would have to do it to understand kind of what I'm feeling about it. There's enough mobs to make it feel like I wasn't just like steamrolling through it. It felt like I was actually, storming a ship, but they weren't hard enough to feel like I was, being bogged down. It was just well paced. Hard to describe. So we're coming up here on another bonus quest that actually ends up getting us a bonus boss, which I think is a cool mechanic to have in the first Flashpoint. I think in just about if I remember correctly, there was a interview with Daniel Erickson and Stephen Reed, if I recall correctly as well. They weren't together, but there's two different interviews that they were saying that most Flashpoints in some way has an additional boss, right? So there's always something in a Flashpoint, apparently. I can't confirm this, but so far from what I've seen, it's true, where there's a bonus quest, and if you finish the bonus quest, you get an additional boss. That's pretty cool. It's a way to mix it up a bit. Maybe you don't need that boss, you don't actually have to do it. It's optional. I like that. Gets you some bonus experience. If you're leveling up, that is. Gets you probably good items. So, there's I'm saying in party chat there that I wanted a taunt. I don't have one yet, which is making it weird, because I'm used to having a taunt. I'm used to playing a tank. My main character in most other massively multiplayer games is a tank, so I was kind of surprised not having one at this level, but I'm doing a fine job of holding aggro. So the boss is going to be coming out here shortly as well, and I end up holding aggro on it in a manner that my group member told me to do, which I think is kind of funny. Basically, if you get behind an object, it line of sights it, right? So I get aggro on it, and I'm taking a ton of damage. It's a bonus boss. It's a bit harder than than you would expect, but it's a bonus boss, so it gives you extra loot. So what ends up happening is my group mate tells me to get behind the wall and just kite him like around the wall, because it's unhealable for her, really. So that's what I do. So I turn around, right, and I go behind the wall, and I'm able to hold aggro really well just from the damage I'm doing and from the dots I can put on the target and everything. And I think that's pretty cool for this low level. I don't think if this was like a high level operation or raid or whatever you want to call it, I don't think I'd be able to do this, but it works for me. So that was another thing I want to talk about is the operations, which are the raids for this game. They're 8-player and 16-player, and they're story-driven as well. So they're basically just like this, where you have story as you go through. You have a reason for doing the things you're doing, and I like that. I wouldn't mind it in a raid. Like I said earlier, you could just skip through all the dialogue if you've done it before. Ooh, nice little offhand there. I think I ended up getting that. Yes, I do, because I'm the tank. I'm like a boss. Anyway, so I wouldn't mind the story in a operation, and I think that'll be really cool to see how that plays out. But unfortunately, you guys won't see that kind of content until the game is actually released, and we're able to do that kind of stuff. If you didn't know, OSW is actually a raiding guild right now. We raid on, or we play other games like Warcraft and stuff when we raid on those. So we're an experienced raid team, and we plan on bringing you guys operations, both the easy mode, the medium mode, and the hard mode. I guess I should explain that. For all their raids and stuff, they have like an easy, like you can go in with a random group of players and pretty much raffle stomp through it, right? I mean, obviously it would be difficult because it still has raid mechanics, and you have to. I mean, if people didn't know how to play, you probably still wouldn't be able to do it. But I mean, they have an easy mode for the people who just want to go in and see the content. They have a medium mode for those who want to like learn it but aren't good enough yet. That are a raids team and want to kind of go through it. So that's kind of like your normal mode in all the other raids or other MMOs rather. And then they have a hard mode, and I don't know yet. They haven't said, but I think there might be like a very hard mode from what I'm gathering from all the interviews I've listened to and watched. But I don't know. We'll see how that plays over. But so far, it's confirmed that they have 3. I don't know about 4, but they have 3 difficulty levels, which is always good because that makes it so it's easier to balance, right? So if someone complains that the medium mode is too hard, right? If just a few people are complaining the medium mode is too hard, they don't have to nerf it. They could just say, well, if it's too hard, go to the easy one for a while until you have the gear to make the medium one a bit easier on you, right? So, and then the same thing for the hard mode. They can keep the hard mode hard. If the mass majority of people are saying it's too hard, you gotta fix it, then they can't.
Escape pods aren't far now. You can make it on your own, General.
And what about you?
I will face my destiny. Go now, my friend. Halt where you are. I am Yadira Ban, Padawan of the Jedi Order. I was sent to protect the General, and you will not pass.
Surrender. Give me what I want, and your ship can survive.
I cannot accept that. A Jedi does not surrender the innocent into the hands of evil. But I intend to drive you back, meter by meter if need be, just as the Republic pushed the Sith Empire into the dark of the galaxy.
Ooh, I'm shaking in my boots.
I don't need to scare you, only defeat you, and that I can do.
So there we go, cool little sequence there to get in here, and now we're going straight for the last boss. My DPS runs in first, but I'm still able to grab aggro like a boss. So we're gonna go in here. Now this boss actually has a mechanic you've seen before in another game, and I think it's pretty cool. But you'll see. So she pulls us in, right, and she charges up, and I'm kind of like, I should probably back up, right? And when she explodes, she does a lot of damage, and you can see the health frame of our Inquisitor go down quite a bit there. So that's just how that works, and it's a mechanic you've seen in the Blood Furnace. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, shame on you. Last boss in the Blood Furnace pulls you in, pulses, and then does mass AoE damage. does about a quarter of the people's lives if you just saw that. I could see how on like a hard mode or heroic mode or whatever they want to call it, it could do a lot more damage and everybody would have to move. So you saw our DPS healing himself up there because he took probably more damage than he should have. And I told them to move away from her because, or I will tell them, I think, if I haven't already, to move away from her because it's like the, yeah, there we go, telling them. It's just like the boss in the Blood Furnace, so they don't need to be taking all that damage. Unnecessary. But it's a cool last boss. You know, for the instance, I really enjoyed it. It's she's an annoying Jedi that we get to kill. I'm okay with that. You know, and you can even see a little cast bar there. I just noticed that. There's a cast bar for how long she has left on that, and I didn't notice that before, but I think that is super rad. Actually, I'm kind of surprised by that. I wasn't expecting that in the beta. A lot of the UI features are turned off in the beta. But there we go. Take her down. A blaster drops. I think I end up getting the blaster. Got to level 11. New codex entry. A ton of stuff. I think that's a really cool bug report that I accidentally opened up because it's like it's shift enter or something like that, and I accidentally hit shift when I hit enter sometimes. So yes, I do get the weapon. Woo! Now, if you haven't noticed before in my Smuggler video, I'll show you right now. So basically what I can do without failing miserably is I can pull the color crystal for a fee. I can pull all my modifications out of another weapon, right, and put them in a new weapon. Just, you know, fine and dandy. Like that. Now apply, accept, and boom. Color crystal in. So I think that's really cool that you can... It's kind of like pulling gems out of an item and putting them in a new one. And the color crystal is unique in the fact that it actually changes the color of the weapon you're using. Like for a lightsaber, it would change the color of the lightsaber. For a weapon like this, it actually changes the blaster color. So we're going to go in here for one of the final pieces of dialogue in this instance.
You can put aside your weapons. I won't try to run. Besides, I doubt I'd make it to an escape pod without my intestines spilling out.
How did you get injured?
Unlucky. Caught in your ship's attack. I'm told the wounds aren't fatal, but that doesn't help the pain. I was a general in the Imperial military service. Did they tell you that when they sent you here? Did they even know?
I hope the Republic's paying you awfully well for this.
If you knew what I knew, you'd understand. If you'd heard what both sides are plotting, you wouldn't be eager to restart this war. They're building doomsday weapons, shields that envelop planets, missiles that darken suns. Republic and Empire are planning to raise worlds, annihilate civilizations. It will be unlike anything the galaxy's seen since the Great Hyperspace War. And it's too late to stop it. The so-called peace is already lost.
I've heard enough of this.
Yes, I shouldn't expect you'd care. Well, you have me then. Me, my stomach full of blood, and my implant full of cybernetic secrets and stolen plans. What will you do?
You're no use to me alive.
So be it. We're all as good as dead anyway.
Yes, as you can see, I'm definitely dark side, and I killed them. But as you can also see, the people who wanted to go with the light side choice still got light side points, right? They didn't get to see it play out light side, but they did get light side points because it was their intention. And I've said that in a different video. But if you choose a light side choice and another person chooses a dark side and the dark side wins, you still get light side points based on your intentions for your choice. So it's cool how you can't get your points messed up by other people. I mean, the way the story plays out, you could see it differently in another playthrough of the instance, so it's not that big of a deal. And I was quite happy with myself that I actually killed the guy. So going in here for another dialogue piece. This one's a short one, though.
This is Protocol Unit NR02. If you are receiving this message, I urge you to return to the Brenal Star as quickly as possible.
Is there some kind of problem?
There has been an incident aboard the bridge. Your tactics have inspired...
Idiots! You'll get us all damn well killed!
So there you go. Okay, now we're gonna go back to our other ship, right? The Empire ship. And it's kind of a cool sequence on the way out. It's not like we're just running through a ton of stuff. They make it a little bit more interesting than that. So we open up this hangar door here, right? And I'm like, oh, are these enemies? And they're like, no, they're running away. They look like friends, but I'm not sure. So check this out. A ship is gonna come through the hangar here and totally destroy these guys. Here it comes. Oh, crash landing. Now, obviously, the effects will be much cooler than what it was there, but as I've said in previous videos, in the beta, a lot of the graphic options are disabled as well. I don't have like very high quality textures and stuff, but I do have anti-aliasing, there we go, forced for 2 times, so it made it a little cooler. And we got the little cutscene here again, going back over to our ship. Pretty cool, keeps the immersion going. I really like that. And as soon as we get back on our ship, which we should be here in a moment, we just run right back up to the bridge, and we're able to talk and turn into the last part of the quest. So, you know, as an ending thought on this entire Flashpoint, I was really happy with it. I had a lot of fun. I think a lot of it was first impressions. Like I was having fun with first impressions of it. I didn't really have any negative things to say about it. Maybe it could have been a little harder, but then again, I'm an experienced player, so I kind of knew what I was doing. I've played a bounty hunter before, so I knew what I was doing there, so it was a little unfair to say that it may have been too easy, but overall, I thought it was a ton of fun, and maybe you guys got different impressions of that. If you did, let me know, but I'll do my little outro after this segment, and enjoy the last piece of this. I certainly did, and I expect to go back there and enjoy it again next time I go in as well.
Welcome back. I'm pleased to see that you have returned whole. I do apologize for the condition of the bridge. As I'd intended to explain earlier, there was an incident.
There are corpses all over the floor. This is what you call an incident?
Several of the crew were extremely agitated by your behavior. Ensign Hedder feared you might execute anyone who failed to contribute to the mission. A group of officers attempted to flee the ship before you returned. Lieutenant Silas objected, and a firefight broke out. There was a large number of casualties, but don't worry, I am fully capable of piloting the ship back to Dromund Kaas.
You're telling me they panicked and killed one another?
That is correct. It was unexpected. Grand Moff Kilrin is eagerly awaiting your report. Should I put him...
Do what you want.
Opening channel now.
Well, how fortunate I could reach my friends aboard the Black Talon. The droid's been keeping me appraised of your work, but I very much wanted to hear from you. How did the attack go?
There was a lot of bloodshed today, Kilrin. I hope it was worth it.
Oh, I'm quite certain it was. Blood is cheap, after all. You should be proud. This is only one of the many operations we're conducting across the galaxy. It's a new beginning to the war. The General was one of the greatest weapons the Republic had, a defector. And you've snatched him from enemy hands. I'll remember this, and I'll make sure you're rewarded.
Remember my name. Spread it around.
I'll make sure your heroism is mentioned when I report to the other Moffs. But my words hardly matter. Soon you'll be joining us on the homeworld, and you can see for yourself what you've been fighting for. It should be inspiring. Enjoy the rest of your journey. Kilran out.
So if you see, I just got an achievement title thing there as well in my codex. And I think I end up putting that on much later, but there you go, got an achievement out of doing that quest. So I just wanted to show that real quick. At the end of that instance there, you got an option to go to either the planet that's the next planet or to go back to the Imperial fleet. I like that. I honestly do. It gives you an option of where you want to go. Say I knew that, you know, I could just go straight back to questing to where I was at. If I was on Drome and Koss, then I could go right back there and start questing again. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this playthrough. It was a long one. If you didn't like how long it was, I apologize. But if you did, then awesome. As you see there, I got 3 commendations for that. I really, like I said, I really enjoyed this Flashpoint. I think they can get only significantly cooler from here on out. If it was this cool to begin with, they can only get better, right? And I'm excited to see what they have to offer in the later Flashpoints. So that was my playthrough of the Black Talon. I didn't get to do the S-list. I'm sorry for you Republic lovers, but wow, the wind is crazy here. I wonder if that came through on the mic. I'll go listen to that. Wow, that did actually come through on the mic. That was really windy. If you hear more, I apologize. But that was my playthrough of the Black Talon Flashpoint. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, I really, really enjoyed that Flashpoint. I plan on doing more when I get back into the game on live. Me and Holy plan on doing video guides, like kind of like learn to raid stuff for Flashpoints and operations. We'll see how that goes. We'll let you know more in the future about that. Expect my Jedi Knight and Inquisitor video up soon. The Bounty Hunter video should be up soon as well. But other than that, please leave some feedback in the comments below or send us a private message. But we'll see you guys next time.